Hey everyone, Lenny Pena here in Garberville, California. It is a beautiful Sunday evening, late afternoon evening, and I came down and watered everything to check on the plants. And I thought this would be a great time for me to give you an overall update of the garden so far. For those of you who are new to the channel or haven't seen any of the garden videos, I've been sort of transforming over an almost 2-month period a sizable garden from being wildly overrun and overcrowded to a much more managed and productive garden. And that's what those who have been following, I think you'll see a few, things that'll be quite little delightful treats tonight when we discover them together. And so I'm going to go down to the bottom and show you a view of the overall garden first. I wanted to give you this view of sort of the overall main area. Now that I have worked on the first bed, I feel all of it now just has a really nicely managed look to it. And I thought I'd give you the overall look. And just to let you know, I started watering all of the grapevines today because I didn't know, Nari just informed me a couple of days ago when I asked, because they were looking a little dry, why they were looking a little dry, and they weren't on an irrigation system, and I thought they were. So now I'm going to maintain them for the rest of the year, and I gave them a great watering today. I could tell that there's a difference, and now I'm going to definitely maintain them more regularly so that we can have a productive grape season. Now I'm going to just turn over to the very first bed that some of you all know, or many of you know who've been following. And I want to point out the first thing that's new, and that is this trellis. That rose bush, if you remember, that I discovered buried underneath everything, it just started putting out branches in all directions, and it really needed to have some, something to latch onto and to be trained up. So I sort of braided it onto this new trellis we bought yesterday. Nari and I were in Eureka, and we bought this, and I'm really happy with it. And as you can see, this bed looks so lush and healthy. I'm so happy with it. The chard. I have actually myself had 4 bunches. I've cooked 4 bunches of chard. I've given a bunch to the couple that lives on the land. Nari took a bunch 2 days ago. So that's like at least 6 bunches that have come out of there. There were eggplant that I didn't realize. Look at these eggplant. They are now covering the lavender. Lavender used to be the tallest thing in the garden, and now it is underneath. The tomato plant is doing very well, and I'll show you down under there are the Roma tomatoes starting on the bottom. The lantana, of course, is all looking gorgeous, but down here, here's where I discovered, I didn't even realize that there had been eggplant on the bottom. There are 2 Japanese eggplant there, and there's a larger one right here, and there was actually one more here a couple of days ago, or several days ago, and I actually took it and cooked it. I made a stuffed eggplant, and that is something that I definitely want to share with you guys one day. It's a recipe from my grandmother, and so I got to make Nari and I stuffed eggplant. The Italian parsley is great. Here's what these are little discoveries. There's another little Italian parsley coming up here that I didn't plant. Sometimes you'll see in the rest of the beds, aren't those lantana beautiful? Sometimes you'll see in the rest of the beds that little things have come up that were buried underneath and now have a chance to grow. And so that's some of the discoveries tonight. I just think the lantana is looking really beautiful. So we're going to now move up the hill, starting with the first bed. I'll start on this side over here where we have the butterfly bush. I had cut off that first bloom, and there they are. Several are starting now to branch out, which is great. The scabiosa that my sister got me. Here's the lavender scabiosas. They've been coming out, and I have been cutting the seed pods off of them, and already I'm planting them in different places. So we have like I said, fountains. I can't wait to see this. This is finally coming up, and I don't know exactly what it is, but there's definitely going to be something coming out of it soon. We'll show you when it happens. I definitely added a couple of plants just to balance things out. I went and bought another scabiosa, actually sort of like a larger version of my miniature ones back there, which they were just too small for me. This is the size I wanted, and these are the pin cushion flowers. And once again, these are the top ones have already bloomed. I'm going to be cutting those off, and I'm going to plant these whole cones. And when all those plants come up, they'll make fountains of new ones. And I added an echinacea, a cone flower, to complete the look. We also have the geranium over here. But I'm just so happy. I never thought I was going to touch that bed, and it has, for me, now turned out to just look a nice managed bed. Very happy with it. Moving up to the potatoes, they're doing very well. And look at the fennel. I'm just really thrilled. The fennel bulbs are looking so good. I'm going to come in on, show you a little more detail. They're just really coming along nicely. I can't wait because I have about 15 of them. I can't wait to make that fennel and grapefruit salad that everyone knows I love. There's the other little 5 of them over here. So the other thing that's happening is the arugula, the wild arugula. I have been cultivating what's been coming out on its own. You know, the older arugula has put out the flowers and some seeds, but look over here, more wild arugula plants. I've been watering them, and now they're really coming. And in addition, I'm so happy. Italian parsley is coming up. It must have came out of seeds from before, and the seeds I planted haven't come up for Italian parsley, so I'm very glad. And then we got the Thai basils planted there, and there, and they're doing well. And here's another little Italian parsley right there. Moving to the next bed, again, more Italian parsley. See, this parsley had dropped its seeds, and more of it's been coming up now, which is great. I had planted some right here in this strip. Nothing came up there in terms of the Italian parsley, but on this side, the curly parsley is definitely up and doing very well. Coming along now. It's kind of like they congregated in patches, and I'm gonna have to thin them out a little bit. But here's some more. We're gonna have so much wild arugula. We can have salads all the time. And we also I'm already have had 2 salads, maybe 3. Nari, I think, had one too, of the arugula. It is just done so well. I'm going to be taking some when I leave and have an arugula salad this evening. Let's see, collards. The collards are looking really good. I've never cooked collards, so I'm looking forward to it. I've cooked chard and kale. This will be my first time cooking collards. In this little patch, what's interesting is that this is the borage. Some of the borage is now starting to come up. There's a few things I'm not quite sure yet. Some I pull out as weeds, and some I'm kind of waiting because I'm not sure. Things have been popping out that I didn't know of. Moving on up here to the zinnia bed. Very interesting. They definitely have taken a lot longer than I expected, but they are now coming up. And what I did is, there was a whole bare spot right in this area for a long way. There was no plants. And in other areas, there were a couple plants sort of next to each other. So I transplanted so that now I'm going to have sort of an even look of zinnias all along these 2 rows. And look over here. Look how much wild arugula, all these new little plants of wild arugula are coming up all around it. I'm letting them grow. It's going to be, we're just going to have so much, and there's more chard. It's now just starting, I can just feel the bounty happening. Again, over by this zinnia, one zinnia, there are a bunch of little wild arugula plants that have started. Now we've moved up to the last, well, not the last, but sort of the last plants I had planted in beds, and that is there was some summer and winter squash that as I told you, I went to harvest for squash blossoms. I want to make a dish out of squash blossoms. So I'm less interested in the actual squash. If I get some, that's fine, but it's the squash blossom. But they're all looking nice and healthy now. And then here's the kale that had the drama where some had gotten fried and They're looking really good. These were the ones that 3 of those over there had gotten fried. They're looking great. My middle ones, I've already picked a bunch of kale and cooked it, and I'll be picking some more. So again, everything is starting to produce really well. Coming over to the wild fennel bed. One thing I'm going to show you quickly is seeds. Here we go. They are now, you can see the brown seeds are coming. I'm going to be harvesting these because I don't want them to be falling on the ground and making a zillion more plants. I've actually been cutting some of the stalks down, and the deer have loved them. I put them over on the compost pile, and the deer have come over, actually followed me one morning as I put them down because they're getting used to me bringing them over. So here's what I planted this morning. This is new because in the center there, that's a borage. I had put a whole patch of seeds and only one came up. Can you believe it? Nari told me her cats had been playing in the new dirt, so that might have had something to do with it. But I just couldn't have one. I'm glad it's in the middle so that when it comes up, it'll look nice. But I thought the arugula is doing so well, I went out and got some lettuce, salad mix. And in these times, having our own salad mix is going to be great. So I think that's going to do very well there. And it looks, it took already. This morning I planted it. It's looking really good. We can move on over here to the dill. The dill, it's strange. The dill already, some of it's already gone to seed. I've cut it. It hasn't produced. The seeds I planted, I can think some of these are dill coming up. And so I have to wait a little longer. There may be some weeds too, but I think I'm going to get some dill from seed. And I haven't seen the mint multiply that much since I transplanted it, but it's looking very healthy, so I'm happy about that. And we're going to move right around to this last bed over here, and we have the cilantro. Now, very, very visible. Now, very usable. We have cilantro here. And we still have that Greek oregano. The chives are doing well. By the way, I have already made 4 batches of herb jam because of all of this lemon balm, the chives. I use that as the base, and then I go around and collect more. I'm going to be picking some of this mint out of the middle here because I have a zucchini at home, and I want to make a zucchini mint salad that I might show you sometime. And then also we got the Italian oregano over here, all good. The sage and pineapple sage continue to be good. The strawberries are all doing okay. They're not going to produce much now, but at least they're going to be good for next year. And of course, they're interspersed with a ton of mint. So I'll be probably pulling some of that mint for usage. We're going to take a little visit here over to Nari's patch. Ooh, the sun's blinding over here. I got to move out. The tomatoes, we picked a tomato the other day. The yellow squash has been doing really well. And the cucumbers, we picked a couple already. She just took them, but our new cucumber has lots of flowers on it. Our basils, Thai and Italian basils, are great. And the chard is just gangbusters. We could have chard for days. And our collards came back off of that stump. So again, we have a ton of greens that'll be just great for the fall. So I told you in the beginning that I had watered the grapevines today, but I wanted to take you behind the scenes of the grapevines because I discovered while here, these are, some call them naked ladies, some call them pink ladies. They're sort of like in the amaryllis family. They grow here in California. What I've always marveled, I've seen, when I used to live here, that they pop out. Look, no leaves or anything. They just pop out of dry ground and put on these pretty pink flowers. I found more of them on this side of the grapevines, a larger little clump of them right here. And we have another clump of them starting there. So I just they're a real treat. I had never known them until I moved to California, and we have them here. They've popped out of this dry earth. Now, in other news, I have a bear update. 2 nights ago, I was in my dwelling space. It was very warm. I had all the windows, the sliding door windows open, so they're all screened. And about 10:30 at night, I heard this noise, sort of scratching and persistence under my deck, and I was just concerned that it could be the bear, and it could be that it's, smelling the food that I had cooked. That's a little concern I've been having lately. And so yesterday, Nari and I went out for the day, and while we were talking, I told her about it. But all of a sudden, like, I was telling her where it was, and then I said to her, "Do you think the bear would be?" I kind of knew the answer, but attracted to the apples that we had stored under my dwelling, that are a year old and starting to have that fermenting smell. When it was warm last week, I was smelling it when I was near the downstairs, and she said, "That sounds pretty much like it could be it." And because I had heard some snorting sounds, that breathing, snorting sounds, I was pretty sure it was a bear. Well, it just got confirmed about 15 minutes ago. Nari came down here to talk with me, and she said, by the way, because last evening we were a little concerned, we took those apples out of my basement, and she brought them over to her house so that she would put them in her pantry. Well, we have little mud rooms, at the beginning of our homes, and she left them in the mud room. This morning, she woke up and she had ripped, she has like screened, open screen outside of her door. There was rip marks on her screen up in the top of the screen. It got pulled down a little bit. She knew the bear had come after those apples at her place. And then additionally, we have another couple that lives in another dwelling. And Tony confirmed, he called Nari and said, the bear, he saw it and it went away, but it had gotten into his compost. So that bear came after those apples 2 nights ago at my place, the apples at Nari's last night, and compost. So we have a little concern, she even said, I don't know what's going to happen if it's going to try to get into, these fruit trees. Like one time it got into the figs. We'll keep you posted, but in addition to the garden update, you got the wildlife update as well. So thank you so much for joining me as always, and I'll see you next time.